Hello there, and welcome to the On World Building video blog series by myself. My name is Amy Barrett. I'm a fantasy author for a new series called Dreams of Saminia. First book due out this fall, late summer 2017. Hi there. Let me welcome you all to my new series. I used to run a podcast. Had some health complications, lost my voice for a month, which, let me tell you this, you will not be able to do a podcast when you croak. Anyways, let me introduce myself. I used to be a senior game developer for a small indie studio based out of Sacramento, California. I did mostly project management. My background is in mainly game writing for and then I have a background in programming, sort of a jack of all trades in the industry. I found that my original passion was creative writing. I've always loved writing, found everything about creating new worlds. That world building in particular is a passion that is something that most writers find daunting, and it's not that hard. One of the things that a lot of people, especially when you're new and you're getting your feet wet with writing, is you want to, organize your thoughts, organize your ideas, and have fun doing it. Don't look at it as, you're pulling out that single needle and you're, tossing it into the giant haystack of ideas, worrying that it's all going to crumble down. But currently, right now, I'm working on it's going to be about 8 book series that includes the sequels and the prequel itself of the Saminia project. Originally, it was a game development idea. Before that, it was about back when I was 19 in college. I came up with this idea of a girl who was struggling, but that of this world where people's ideas fabricated the essence of another lower universal plane, and that their dreams did, all sorts of really cool things. And over time, I sort of shelved that idea and discovered that I could actually, at the time it wasn't really ready to be put into beyond conception. And nowadays, I finally have been able to fine tune the characters, breathe life to them, bring some from character graveyards that I've had from other series. And I'm very excited to, as I'm wrapping up right now, some of the final revisions for the manuscript. I will not begin to tell you. I think any other author and newer writers will never tell you how many manuscript you will go through of a series before you polish it and get it fine tuned. Saminia, the first book, I am ashamed to say before, even as we tried to input it into a game design element, had gone through at least 4 or 5 manuscript cores before it was shelved back and from game design back into a novel format. And then you had to rewrite with magic systems and everything else that I worked with the team. I have to say it's an idea that it's 10 years in the making, and I'm very excited and very pleased to be revealing to the world. But anyways, enough of that. Why writing? Well, why do we write? It's to share the ideas. As an author, you don't get to do that. We're all quirky little individuals. Do I like to leave my house? Yeah, sometimes. Most of the time, yeah. I do a lot of, in my spare time, playing, online games to various degrees, going to the pool, where I live, hoping that there's no other people there, people interactions, whatever. But, writing to a degree brings out those people interactions that you don't get to have, but also sharing a theme or a moral of, how people and relationships get to interact and sort of share a story, an element that you don't get to impersonate on, Joe down the street, or, Mary Lou in the, you're standing in line with at the Walmart, shopping line. But hey, this is something that, with writing, you can impart. You get to impart with your children to a degree, but with writing, the sky's the limit. With this and everything, I would like to share part of my mess over here. I have a bunch of books that, as I'm going through, I would like to recommend. Not today, later on. Part of the mess I'm getting ready. I'm plotting I've been going through on the phone all day with my editor. Some various plot bunnies, and I use a couple books, and I will be sharing those and posting links to the respective authors and citing these amazing resources that you can actually pick up through Amazon and various other places that are amazing for getting you started on plot. If you're ever building and wanting to jump into writing, I can recommend these all day and night. But yeah, let me show you something really quick here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not. Here, let me see. This right now is my current work in progress. What is it? It looks like a bunch of veins. Looks like a bunch of veins to me. But I'm in the process of drawing a map of just a single province. Excuse me. Need to learn the language. What is that? It's basically part of my novel series. I have to draw, unfortunately, various maps. And what I prefer to do, and yeah, I should probably leave it to a graphic artist. Unfortunately, I have a little bit of graphic artist in my background, but if I get flustered enough, I'll probably toss it to one. I like to design the layouts and drafts for my own maps. Why do I do this? It helps for me. I like to put maps for my readers. At some point, I'm probably going to have an art book based on all the art I own as a proprietor, as a co-owner of a D&D studio I worked at, of various art and game origin and elements that we acquired through the Seminia project that I can actually probably at some point use, which I would be excited to show people and cite the artist that works very hard and several other people. But this is art that I'm actually working on for maps designed for the book. This is for Fortis, where the capital province is. This is basically where a lot of the story takes place, not to give a lot away, for the most of the bulk of the story, where you have Validus, the capital of the Asinian state of Fortis. Basically what's going to go on is most of the story for the first book takes place here. Second book starts branching out across the world. But for this, I felt that this was a map after talking to several of my beta readers, a couple others, which if, by the way, you ever want to become a beta reader, I will provide information below in my information. If you ever want to do that, I do give away free books and other goodies free to my people that actually sit around and read my stuff. I like to make you all suffer, so let me reward you. But yeah, this is a map I've been working on, sort of doing the drafting, because I like to put those in my books, because I know a lot of people sort of nerd out on those things. And it gives them a reference of, hey, this is cool. So along with that map in my book, I'm actually adding a world map, and we're doing one of what's called the Citadel, which most people think of when you hear a citadel, you're thinking this thing that goes towards the sky, skyscraper, citadel, fortification, whatever. Citadel in my world, unfortunately, goes down to the ground. So it's sort of, we're doing one with cross sections, bird's eye view of each layer of the citadel, plus one that shows the cavern structure for the Validus-based citadel, because for this story, part of the story takes place in that citadel. And so I thought, some readers, especially with fantasy, like to nerd it out. So I figured, hey, let's do this, right? And what's the thing is, with map design, with story, especially with fantasy, a lot of people love this, but what point does it come too much? For this, 3 maps. 3, not that, 3. Good, right? Is that too much? Well, some would say yes, some would say no. I do a lot of I don't believe in having appendix or supplementary material at the end of the book. Some books like George R. R. Martin in his Game of Thrones series has like the family lineages, like he has the houses of the great houses, etc., and the minor houses in the back of the books. I prefer to do all my supplementary material online, which some people say is, hey, it's great, you have a line, but at some point, someone may stop paying for the domain, or what if my web server goes belly up? But I sort of prefer to have that type of stuff online, or at least in a way that are easily for people to see online, or if they don't have the books, can get to. That's something I've always found is a little bit more versatile, especially with the age of information. Um, but at what point does it come too much? Would it be a little too much for me to go into Google Earth, put my map into Google Earth, give you guys something on that's Google Maps like? Oh, I would love to do that. I'm actually been researching doing that for that on my website. You could just, which is right now being a little fine tuned, in prep for the new release. Go in there where you could do like a Google Maps. Oh, here's Tragos. Here's Trovis. Here's Validus. Here's the trade routes that Oh, here if you do a new layer, here's the common city, routes. Here's the borders. Here's where there's been issues before in the past with conflicts. I would like to do stuff like that. I think that's really cool. You know, that's why I prefer web-based over packing the end of a 400-page book. With a ton of supplementing material. It starts getting a really thick book, and I don't think anyone wants to be lugging that around. Personally, between you, me, the fence post, right? Anyways, this is my series I'm going to be starting to do once I get more comfortable with it. I would like to do this every day if I could, especially with I'm going into I've been working with Amazon right now for doing the Kindle edition of my new book. They're talking about doing pre-orders within the first 90 days. We're looking at possibly having it released on a date. It's looking like for both Imgram, Spark for doing my self-publishing route. I know everyone cringes with that. We're doing it through Imgram Spark for the paper, the good old both hardcover and paperback are going to be through Imgram Spark, and then we're going to be doing, and that will be that's basically who's going to be actually publishing it for me, making the actual copies, and they'll be sent out to Amazon, etc. And I will be having, as this goes on, more information about that. But we're doing everything through Kindle. It's sort of great, especially as a writer, especially those who are thinking of writing. 10 years ago, I remember when I used to think, and I used to be more of a socially very introverted person, scared of doing this. It felt very daunting as a new writer, going, how do I do this? How do I appeal to publishers? How do I want to write. I had this series I used to work on, and I've shelved. It's still shelved. And I said, I want to write. I want to do this. I had followers at the time. I used to post on a bunch of boards. I won't give anyone here the name. And I was doing this, but what scared me is what caused me not to publish was the fear of publishers, a fear of having to go tooth and nail on those rejection letters. And a lot of people who have read I have a teaser currently right now for my work. It's the prologue. You can find at Samini.com has a link to it, which is I'll be posting in my information for this. You can, I was scared of rejection. People say, "Oh, you're so good at writing. Oh, this is the next great, X, Y, and Z writer. Enter writer's name here, But I couldn't do it. My anxiety came too great, but I didn't want to be like 50 Shades of Grey, which I'm no offense. The editing is atrocious. I'm from one writer to another. If I'm going to self-publish, I want someone editing my work. I want it to be pretty. That's why you want a publisher, right? But I didn't want to deal with the rejection letters. I didn't want to deal with all that stress. I didn't want to be sitting here on a polished manuscript who, after paying for an editor and doing all this work, dealing with this rejection letter. So what I did is I took this leap of faith finally now. I'm sitting here at my 30s, looking back at my life going, I want to do this. And I'm now actually doing my series. And I think any writer who said, hey, they're scared of dealing with the publishers and everything, right now there's this revolution going on, especially with Amazon doing the creative space, which no, I think is amazing. They're sort of having this drive of the Kindle. They're helping new authors with Kindle. And then the creative space. And there's running through their Ingram Spark program. And there's several others, but those are the two big ones. Is Amazon is leading this push for authors to be in control of everything. You can go buy your through broker, etc., your own ISBN, do your research, figure out what's going on, because this is sort of the new wave of what people are doing now. It's no longer the weirdo, self-publishing and print on demand. It's doing a lot of this of, hey, this is the new norm. And I would recommend a lot of people looking into this, especially if you're new to writing and you're wanting to write. Take that leap of faith. Do it. Don't have anything hold you back. If you're scared of those rejection letters, try doing this. Because I'm telling you right now, after doing the writing and having people, after I just did my teaser event, coming back to me and going, wow, this is amazing. Oh, this is great. I've had people begging me if I can get signed copies, and I haven't even had the book come out yet. And I'm sort of going, well, maybe I should have gone to a publisher at this point. Maybe I need to start looking for an agent. And I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for this sort of relief of a self-publishing company, I would not be here right now. Anyways, I hope this is enjoyable. This is my introductory blog. After this, I'm going to be doing several other subjects. Probably in a day or two, maybe even tomorrow, I'm probably going to be introducing one of my characters who I have used in my current series, and I actually want to talk about the evolution of this character. He has been featured on Twitter. There's a character, it's hashtag character therapy. I've used him and they loved him. And I've used him in various other places. I think a couple of them will now know who I'm going to be bringing up, and his actual evolution of character, of how he became from this one straightforward cookie cutter mold I made of into this actual living, breathing character and personification. Anyways, look forward to that. This should be in the next couple of days. Stay tuned. And in the meantime, check out the information I've posted below in this on this page. And check out my author page and my series page, which is at www.sominia.com. That's SOMINIA.com. I do have the teaser. That is my prologue. And at any time, if you're interested in wanting to join my I have a beta reading team. They get free stuff. They actually, one of them, I told him recently, because he's been doing a lot of work, he's getting multiple copies of the hardcover and paperback with signed. I've told him if he wants certain people, he wants certain copies. He's asked for requests from my editor to sign it. And I'm like, yeah, I can do it, because he's worked with her a little bit. And I've done that for them. If they want certain things from me, they can get it. I do toss them little gifts for them. It's on request. So, if you're interested in doing that, check it out. I'll have the information in here below along with my email. But you can also just go to Sominia.com. It should be in there. They're doing the rehaul in the next couple weeks. But yeah, check it out, and thank you for listening. Hey, see ya.